Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 94. We're finally beyond the Grand Tours of this year. We will not be at La Vuelta. I did not aim for an invite for that one because I knew with the limited number of riders that we have and high-end quality, I knew that they were going to be done and exhausted by this point, and they are. They are way beyond that point. We're not going to be able to get fresh again to ride a third Grand Tour. We don't have a big enough team, and we don't have enough quality within the team. So the only World Tour race that I did not ask for an invite to was La Vuelta. Here, GP San Sebastian, one day classic, simple. We're already into the final 60 kilometers on this one. Bad timing here has hurt Benny Messias. I sent him pretty early to get water for the final time to avoid this climb for that, and he pretty much failed to do so. Big uptick in tempo, enough so that I better respond to this one at least a little bit. We definitely don't want to drop out the back, but we are nearing the top of this climb, and then we've got one more key climb to worry about. But then there's that climb just before the finish line that will definitely turn this into a puncher's day. Now, the breakaway has not been caught, but they're down to 240, and with 53 kilometers to go, shouldn't be a threat, but might be. It's borderline, especially with these downhill sections, and we're getting some recovery in as we go through this. Now we have some of our guys who are just at the tour, and they're awfully tired. I took a couple of guys that were scheduled for this race that were at the tour and replace them with guys who are a lot fresher. It helped with the race day condition, even then it's not great. But the worst race day condition we have is De Villiers, and he wasn't there. He's fresh. He just got a bad draw. Somebody who was expected to have a bad draw today. I was expecting a -3 for Samuels. He ended up with a +1. But what is going on with these guys? Are we really that slow? Like, why? What? Seriously, what's going on? He's not 87. Hello. Still, guys, here's teammates riding at an 87. Here's Johannes Dalek, who has a 71 mountain. Today, a 72. 87 effort means that with a little mix of medium mountains. So he's maybe a 73 if you count that. A 73. No problem keeping up. Samuels has full strength, is not riding hard. Something's wrong here. Something is very wrong here. He's making no effort to hold position. And that definitely puts him well behind here, with the split that happened right behind Arab just a moment ago. Samuels is going to have to ride forward and fight through that. De Villiers doing the work, but that's going to take him out of the mix. But De Villiers is out of the mix because of his race day condition. Otherwise, he could have been our puncher here today. Alright, now does that get us where we need to be? Because there was one more back here, and that's Henok, who was having the same issue, but Henok's hanging on a little bit better. He's a medium mountain guy, so go ahead and use that 90. Okay, Mansour, Benny Messias, De Villiers. We've gotten forward, go ahead and hold position. Approaching the top here, with the field thinning. And as you go over the top, you usually think stretch because the people speed up and it drops off riders. And we did see 50 drop off, 60 drop off. A little late for an attack here. These guys aren't going anywhere. All right. There's the big split. And it is a big split. So our 3 domestiques are gone. Leaves us with four guys. There's 38 of them here. Henok made it forward enough to get back in the mix. He's not a puncher. He's a medium mountain guy, so we're going to want him to protect Samuels, who's the definite leader for the day. Johannes Dalek in the 78, I think, is going to be the other guy instead of Arab. Arab's not very punchy. Definitely not a sprinter, so we'll protect Johannes Dalek and Samuels from here. Those 5 are still ahead, but it's only by 19 seconds. The front 3 have not been caught. But with 25k to go, there's a big flat section here, and that's where they're likely to lose time. And those 5 getting pulled back means they'll have wasted a little bit of energy, giving us a little bit better chance. So it's 43 now. Got to watch that gap behind us, though. It's only at 44 seconds. It looked healthier than that, but we seem to have taken it easy. But there are enough riders, 8 or 9 or so, to ride at the front. It is back together. Chase groups worked hard, made contact. Benny Messias among them. Can he get up here? Will he have any energy when he does? I doubt it. In fact, he needs to just sit on. Go back to auto. He's not going to do any good. And quite a few of those guys back there are not going to do any good. But some have been brought back and are going to be in with a chance. 16k. The climb. Let's get a look at our climb here. 2.5k. 9.6 is the average. The max is 18.7, and that, I don't know if it's in the lower or upper section, but it's a wonky climb, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and gel up, as Henok's going to lead out. We'll set him at a 90. You got some guys trying to make little pushes here, which is definitely not the place for it. It's on the climb that you got to go, but we're coming up on that now, so Henok's going to go first. 10k to go. Gel for Arab. The last 4 riders away as Pidcock attacks right at the base. This first little steep section, we want to get over that, then we'll start pushing as it levels off. Okay, now take it off from here, 8.5k. Henok out of red bar, but plenty of yellow. I think we're punchy enough to get away from here, though. There's the top. Arab. No, didn't get an acceleration. Arab. What about the downhill side? Henok is good downhill. So we'll go right back into following. We are at least out front, 6k to go. And with some downhill, so go ahead and gel. They'll keep pushing down to 25 riders in contention. We've definitely got the prime spot, and it's not far from the base to the finish line, and we've got a head start on that part inside 3k. Henok, he's gonna sprint, but he's got no red bar, so he's just leading out 1.9k. So Arab gonna take off. Samuels, go. Johannes Dalek. Inside the final kilometer, too many guys are out sprinting us, but we will be well placed at least with 2 riders. Are they both inside the top 10? Maybe not. Pogacar, Pidcock, Strong on top, 12th and 13th. Yeesh. Just not sprinty enough. Super well placed, but couldn't hang on. Johannes Dalek could have gone 50 meters earlier, as the red bar had just a hint left. I don't think that would have made a single position difference, as he was almost a bike length down on the guy ahead of him. 50 meters earlier would have been half a bike length better, but just we had no sprinters here. We needed a smaller field over the top. But 12th, 13th, 21st, 24th is okay for the points, and an okay showing considering how fatigued we were and how we lacked any real punch or sprint capability for a race such as this one. It's not a bad showing. With a UK and Norwegian sponsor offer, we stay with MTN for another year, even though they weren't initially African themselves. We will wait for a new one to come along, or have the same situation that we had before. When we approach that maximum, that's when we would swap it out in the similar manner that we did the last time. Therefore, MTN for another year. Ranked in order of quality, 3 of our top 6 guys have expiring contracts, but especially 2 of our top 3 guys have expiring contracts. Our big thing this season is going to be about retention of riders, more so than looking at new guys. There are a few on my radar, but as we go into this signing period, it's those 3 guys in particular that are going to be the most important. We've got some guys lower down that are not going to be as big of a deal. But some of the ones that are lower down are guys that I did one and done kind of contracts so that we could renew them for 3 years and give them an initial of 4 years before we had to worry about proper contract signings, knowing that they would still be at minimum come this year. So that's one thing we're going to be keeping an eye on as we go forward. There's going to be a few easy contract signings, but it's time for me to start doing my math. We have $150,000 for next season to spend, as we are now competing at World Tour level, and we're going to be competing at World Tour level again next season. With the type of budget that we have, we are easily making prize money to offset losses. So we can, if we wanted, spend every last dollar on rider salaries, sign the staff up later, and not worry about being in the negative. Finances are no longer an issue for that, only an issue for the maximum for our individual salary cap placed on us by our sponsors. That's the only worry we have any longer. And with contracts like 17.8 for Mason Samuels, I would be very happy with a similar 17.8 for Sammy Arab, who is right about the same level and same age when we signed the Samuels 17.8 contract. So if we can get him for that, that's going to be good. But I need to figure out how much money I have to work with. So that's the next step. After a quick check, we have $78,000 in guaranteed salaries for the coming season. So just over halfway to our maximum of $150. That's good. Next up is how many spots do we have to fill? We want to, at minimum, fill every vacancy that we have. If possible, we want to be able to expand our roster by 1 or 2 guys as we continue to navigate a full World Tour calendar in the coming season, if possible. Knowing that we had, I think we only got denied 2 races this year, plus La Vuelta, so -3. La Vuelta, that's 21 days of racing right there, added into some of the team if we are going to add that one in next season. We have 15 riders returning. We have 10 expiring contracts. Now, thinking about 3-year rotations as things go, we shouldn't have quite this many. That's a lot. Some of it's because I did a couple one and dones, right? They're not on full 3-year rotations, or at least not at this stage. It's always going to be a little more than a third, but it's a fair bit more than a third at 10 of 25. We definitely want to sign 10, and I think this season actually it makes sense to aim for 10, sign 10. 11 at most, just because it's a lot of riders to begin with, and I don't think we ever want a roster that's more than about 30 anyway. Maybe 28, 27 is kind of an ideal range, meaning we really only want to get a few more anyway. If we're going to be signing up all 10 to multi-year contracts anyway, then I think that's about it, and then we could worry about expansion next year when we have fewer guys on expiring contracts. Speaking of the number of contracts expiring next year, it's quite a bit less. Well, not quite a bit. It's 9. It's the year after where we only have 6 guys signed up. That's the one you want to fill out a little bit more. If anything, next season you'd want to take 9 and turn that into 10. There's a fair bit of money coming off the books next season too, with big contracts for Samuels, De Villiers, and Roteasir. And the De Villiers and Roteasir ones, that's awfully big contracts for what they bring the team. Those guys could be in jeopardy of letting their contracts lapse and replace that money with somebody else. Meanwhile, Samuels is absolute team leader for us to hang on to. He and Arab, of course. So fingers crossed that Arab does not go up over 20K or so. But we've got a good 72,000 to play with. If we can get Arab for 20K or less, that means I think we should be able to get anyone and everyone we want to get re-signed, and then go out and replace a couple of them with some better young developing options. First up is Bahri, and I'm trying to make a decision, and I'm starting with him because he's our highest potential overall guy. He is the 5-star, really strong future leader, but he's only at 3 stars right now. He did start the year at 2.5. He had a very low base, very low base compared to other riders. And at 19 years of age right now, he's already come along to the point of, you can see there's 1 level, there's 2 levels, 3 levels, 4 levels that he has progressed, 5, 6, 7. So he has leveled up now 7 out of 20 times. He's getting into a phase. The progression will slow up a bit. You can already see that he is due his next level. He's absolutely going to level up again before the end of the season and probably be a 3.5 star guy. But over the next year, maybe he levels up one more time. I don't think he'll leave the 3.5 star range. Maybe he hits 4 stars. But that's still minimum or close to minimum contract. And then you can still lock him up for 3 years. So for Bari, we're going to do another one and done and try to turn him into a 5-year guy before he ever sees a big contract. Haptom's our other bottom end guy. He's on his 8th level right now. He's still 3 stars as well, which means he's got quite a ways to go before he's going to be top competitive. But he still has high potential. And with a recent level up, I think he's definitely going to be a little slower in the next year to take off. So we're going to do the same thing with Haptom and go ahead and do a 1-year deal. A guy that I definitely want to hang on to that still has plenty of potential, though development-wise has been a little iffy, is Janssen. At 3.5 stars, he should still be on a minimum. Therefore, we'll go ahead and try to sign him up now. But as close as he is to moving up, we're definitely going to want to aim for the 3 years for him. He's not happy with luxury teammate. We'll go ahead and make him important writer. And let's see. Yes, he will sign for minimum, so that's good. Here's the first guy that I suspect might ask for more than minimum, but I'm hoping if it is more than minimum, we're talking 3 or 4K, just slightly more than. Benuna, not great right now. I mean, a 77 downhill is his highest rating, but he's got a lot of 70 pluses. So he's a pretty decent all-around domestique. But he still has some high potential in some areas. Not crazy high potential, but he could be a pretty good rider. He's never going to be amazing, so we never want to pay him a ton. So here's to hoping for minimum, expecting something in the 3 to 4K range. Yeah, 3.6 already. We'll go for 3 years. He's worth hanging on to. Oh, but he won't sign for the 3.6. That's going to have to bump us up over 4. And even then, I'm not sure 4.1 is going to do it. He's going to... Oh, it does. Okay. Okay. I'm content with 4.1 on Benuna. Here comes our first big iffy moment. He was already on a not minimum contract at 3K. He's almost maxed out at 4.5 stars, but he still has the climbing potential. He's already just about topped out as a puncher with a 78. But then you throw in an 81 downhill, which is very much a secondary attribute, and a prologue rating. That's okay. Decent time trialist, yes. He's an okay rider. I like Johannes Dalek, but he has 0 victories. 0. He's not taken the world by storm. I'm not willing to spend very much on this guy, and we might not commit to this contract potentially, depending on what he's asking for. He's going to be asking for more than what Benuna was. We are absolutely not paying him over 10. But how much we pay him is going to depend on what happens with Ashimwe and Arab here in a moment. He's looking for 10K. We even want to go, yeah, I'll commit to the 3 years, but we're going to try to pay him less. Not okay with the 9K. I'm going to push this because, like I said, he's not somebody that I want to hang on to. He won't even sign for 10K. We'll see if we can strike a deal. Nope. Okay. So Johannes Dalek is out. Now the good news is he's good enough. He'll get picked up. He will get picked up. He will be on another team. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have a surprise. He is slightly punchy, right? We'll have a surprise one day that he'll go off and finally get that victory, that maiden victory, in the right race for the right team, and could see a boost for Eritrea. Probably not going to happen, but here's our first casualty. Johannes Dalek is out. Ashimwe has a similar profile in that he's a 4.5 star rated guy, but unlike Johannes Dalek, he's better all around. He can do more. He can still be a little punchy, though he's not as fast when push comes to shove. And he's definitely not as strong of a time trialist. But all around, better rider. And has clearly done more for us, especially of late. 4 career victories. He had a 5th at the Giro. He did both Grand Tours. Won the King of the Mountains. Took 3rd on a stage. Won another stage. Had a fantastic stretch there. And that has really set him apart. But it could drive up his price. It certainly helped his popularity. He's maxed out on the climbing, though. He can get punchier. Johannes Dalek kind of punchier. And that's a good thing. Absolutely worth hanging on to. But not somebody we want to pay a ton of money for. Like the 10, 12K. So let's hope that we can get him in that 19,000. We're not going to even try a deal yet. We're going to hold off. That's what I was trying to get Arab for. And he's clearly better. Similar breakdown. Shimway is not far off from Arab, but he's not Arab. Similar money. 3 years. Bump him up to a leader. We'll see what happens with the 18-4. Okay. We got Arab for the right money. That's big. That's big. Now the Ashimwe conundrum. So that concludes day 1 of business with 30 of our 72K spent. We do still have 42K to spend. But anything we spend, especially overvalue, is money we don't have in the future down the road. Ashimwe is not Arab, and he's asking for more money than Arab. It's not an easy decision. I have the money for it. We can afford 20K for him. At this point of our 10 expiring contracts, we've re-signed 5 riders. I've officially let go 3. Johannes Dalek didn't want to let go. I wanted to hang on to him. He and Ashimwe, like if I'm going to have to pick between the two, I'm going to overpay for Ashimwe over Johannes Dalek every day. Ashimwe expected 12K, 10K, 20 is a bit rich. So it's still a decision to be made. Johannes Dalek, part of me thinks I should have probably just coughed up the 11K that it would have taken to sign him. But again, overspending. You can only afford to overspend so much when you're still dealing with a fairly tight budget. And we've got some big expiring contracts next year. Tough decisions. Both of those guys would have been a problem. Do we try to sign Ashimwe to a 1-year deal and then reassess next year where we're at? Or whether he'll take less? Usually they just ask for more and more and more over time, so it doesn't generally get better. He has raced more than anyone else this season for us. 89 days of racing so far. He and Samuel's the only ones over 71. So he would be sorely missed from the squad. But his success with the stage win and with the King of the Mountains, that polka dot jersey, I think has got to be 5 to 8K of what he's asking. Makes him tougher to hang on to for sure. But I do still have one more decision to make besides Ashimwe. That's Havu. Havu does not have much potential. He's already a 3.5-star guy, and he's only ever going to be a 3.5-star guy, but he's got another star worth of Northern Classics and flat ratings. So he does just 2 things for us other than being a semi-competent time trialist in a team time trial. With a flat rating, he can be early train, sprint train, lead out kind of guy. But a 72 is not great for that. He's cobble rated, and Africans are just not very well cobble rated unless you're Benyam Gramai. It's hard to find a good cobble rating in Africa. That's what got him on the team. That might keep him on the team. So we have 3 spots to fill for sure. If we drop Havu, that's a 4th. If we choose not to overpay for Ashimwe, that's a 5th. I have 7 total candidates for replacement with 3 to 5 to sign. So starting to assess them, I think, will help shape the picture on whether to overspend on Ashimwe, whether to commit, even though it's minimum, to Havu. Ashimwe is the only one that's going to cost, and that's the thing. The others should be all minimum or very close to. Maybe somebody asks for 3 or 3.5, but assessing their potential and what they offer over an Ashimwe, I think we're going to end up overpaying for Ashimwe at this point, but I want to be sure. We'll make him the final piece of the puzzle at this point, especially losing Johannes Dalek when I didn't want to. Losing Molebron. He's one of the 3 that's outgoing because he's maxed out his potential and is just not up to the level of the other guys. And part of the reason why I was choosing to let Molebron go was because I was going to keep Johannes Dalek. Now they're both heading out, losing a fair bit of our punchiness. But anyway, Liam Lottering is the only scouted prospect that I was thinking about signing. For one thing, he's still not 18. So his birthday is December, I see. So he will be 18 in time. I think we could approach him. Yes, we could. Puncher, something we need, but he's not going to offer now. This is somebody you would love to store on a development team, but we haven't had the finances quite yet to deal with that. And it does play into your salary cap, I believe. The other expenses are less important when we have the kind of finances we do, but I believe the salary plays into the salary cap. Everybody else is already on this screen. I think the weakest of the guys was my late addition, because he's from Burkina Faso, who's like a 1-1 nation or something very low anyway. Just looking for those diamonds in the rough that could really be something. We are so weak in the sprint. I've always been looking for sprinters. He's already a 70 there, 71 flat, 73 acceleration, and he's definitely got room for growth, but he's not a very good all-around rider, and not very high potential. He's just okay potential. Already 22 though. Might be one of those guys to pick up when he's closer to his maximum, but will he get picked up by anyone? There's no other African teams, so he's not on anybody's radar, and that's the hard thing. He could retire if we don't take him. The other African prospect is Kiam Tor. That's not good enough. Okay, he's ruled out. We're definitely going to rule him out right now. Lottering's a better option, much stronger puncher. It's the time trialing. It's that all-around piece. That's not enough. That's not going to be enough. I think I'd rather take his sprinter friend. Next up, we have a 22-year-old Ethiopian who's got a long ways to go in his development. Looks like he would be a fair bit better than Havu eventually. He's not there now, though. He's only 65 cobble rated. 74 downhill is the only decent rating he's got. But he's stronger. Much stronger. I mean, a full star better, and even a better Baradur rating than Havu. I think we're finding our Havu replacement right here, right now. He's going to be quite a while before he's any good, and may not ever be anything great. We'll start with a 2-year contract to put him on the other group, and I think he'll still be a minimum at that point. This is one I'm excited for. Maccabe, 19-year-old Eritrean, already 3 stars. Is he already 3 stars? A 73 sprint, nothing else. But look at that potential. High sprinting potential, high classics and Baradur potential. Is not going to be a good climber, but he will have at least a little bit of punch. That's somebody who can potentially win some races. Ansa is the one he's replacing, but that's going to give us actually 2 guys up the cobbled way, which makes it easy to let Havu go now and have Ansa covered off already. He's already good. He's already not very happy with 2.5. We're going to go ahead and make him a 3-year kind of guy. To replace Molebron, we have Dylan Isaacs, more potential. Not terribly far off from Molebron now, other than the punchy side is being a bit weaker. This 21-year-old is with the Israel Premier Tech Academy, with an expiring contract there, so he's on a development team. It did take $3K to get him signed, but that's okay. It's not a bad sum. We've got 2 spots left to fill. Theoretically, one is for Ashimwe, and so far, outside of 500, we haven't spent anything extra, so we have plenty left over to sign Ashimwe, and I could always, if I really wanted to, and I might do this, I haven't decided yet, I could try to sign him to a 1-year deal, spend that little more, and reassess next year. Go from there. Maybe his popularity drops as he doesn't do something as amazing and he asks for less money in the coming season. Very well could happen. Anyway, Ashimwe aside, there's one more spot to fill. Now, technically, it's Johannes Dalek who is the holder of that spot. What's left, lottering, plus 2 sprinters. 2 sprinters who are just that, sprinters, nothing else. They won't help us on a climb. They won't be punchers. They won't be lead-out guys. They're just sprinters. They're weak in every other department. And they're not going to be lead sprinters. So they really don't give me something that I need. Not enough of anything I need. Lottering is a better option. Losing Johannes Dalek means we do need to get somebody. So we're going to go ahead and sign Lottering. So he'll effectively be the Johannes Dalek replacement. And that means I don't want to try to replace Ashimwe. There's no one to replace him with. He's one of our top 3 guys. He's almost a 5-star guy. Almost. Very close. We'll suck it up and spend the money. I've got enough one and dones for the coming season. He's already 3 stars. And at just 17 should develop very fast this year, which means he could easily be in the high 3.5 or maybe even a 4-star by next season. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and do the 3-year deal with him on minimum, and he could be a pretty good rider by the end of that 3 years. With 31K left to spend, this isn't going to max us out. It still saves at least a little bit to put towards next year's funding. I do like that idea. I don't like spending this much. I've made that very clear, but we will suck it up and keep Ashimwe long term. That 10 or so K left over for next year, that's a big piece for me. We're going to try to offer him less, but we're going to come up fast if he really doesn't like, and he definitely doesn't like. So up to the 19.2, still doesn't like. 21, 22. Oh, okay, over the line. Not a fan of 22.2 for Ashimwe, and that left us 9K to spare. For now, that bumps our team index up to 17th, though. We're not going to make World Tour, folks. Lots of free agents. They will get signed. But with 2 5-star guys and a very, very nearly 5-star guy, we should be able to retain our position in Continental Pro, hopefully, comfortably, hopefully. I still think we'll be below mid-tier Continental Pro in terms of actual on-paper rating, but let's hope that this is enough to stay comfortable and retain our Continental Pro. Gosh, wouldn't that be something if we were suddenly bumped down to Continental? That would be a game changer right there, wouldn't it? So 10 expiring contracts, but we have re-signed 6 of those riders, and then to replace the 4 outgoing, we have 4 young prospects coming in, 3 of which are pretty dang good prospects. One is a very good. Maccabee is a great prospect, and Lottering is a pretty decent all-around prospect himself. We're moving into another nation in Ethiopia, where we have a chance to maybe get a boost for them. The new guys, 3 out of the 4 are at the bottom of our list, though. It's a little bit of a rebuilder on that one, but the retention otherwise is absolutely a good thing. We're not going to go out and find free agents. We are at a stage, right? Gourmay is literally the only one. Gourmay is the only quality guy that if we ever have a big lump sum and we've grown enough and he's interested and he's still got quality and isn't so old at that point, he's literally the only one. After that, the way we do our scouting, the way I track riders, there's no surprises. There's no sudden leaders that we can bring in, because we're the only African team out there. We're the only ones developing these guys. We're the only ones bringing them in, and we're finding the prospects and bringing them in and developing them, and therefore it's all going to happen internally. So it's a youth movement. Every year is a youth movement, and every time we make the hard decision to let somebody go, like Johannes Dalek, he can go out and do something with another team, possibly, maybe Mulebron could get hired by somebody and maybe go do something, but neither one of them is great. And letting them go. The Johannes Dalek, it's sad to let him go, but here in the end, we are short on the cash. We would not have been able to have both him and Ashimwe, or we would have had to have fewer guys re-signed, and we would have had to thin the team to keep him. Losing Johannes Dalek is really the only one that hurts, though. Like Mulebron was very much towards the bottom end of the team. Like the other 3 guys we're losing are all 3.5-star guys. Havu, Ansa, Mulebron. Mulebron's already 29 and maxed out. Ansa had potential, lost that potential. Havu had potential, lost, but never really had much. It's just that cobble rating. Like, he's the only cobble guy. That's why we had him. But we've got an option coming in now, finally, who is going to be better. I would have liked to have hung on to Havu, but he's just doesn't have quality. Paying him just hurts, right? I don't know. I'm still thinking about trying to hang on to him just to have some support, especially with he's not going to be any good for Paris-Roubaix. It's Like, there's a couple classics where he'll help us, and that's about it. I think we just have to suck it up and be bad at a couple of classics, really. Johannes Dalek, that's the only one that hurts. Like, that's the guy we're going to miss. I didn't want to leave him. We essentially did run out of money, even though we didn't agree to terms with him. Even if we had paid that 500 more and got him to agree to 11K, we don't have 11K left. There would have had to have been a hard decision, and let's be real, I would have picked Ishimwe over Johannes Dalek either way. He's the bigger, more important rider for us and worth the money. Johannes Dalek was a 6-7K kind of guy, maybe 8K kind of guy. Not what he was asking. He wasn't that far over. Like, if we had a little more money to work with, if we had 30K more, I easily would have signed Johannes Dalek for that. But it is what it is. And if he doesn't get picked up by somebody, we can turn around and try to pick him up next year. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.